Good morning, beloveds. I have two of them in here with me today. Sugar, who you can see, and Foster, who is sitting over in the chair, yawning. I've bored him already. It is Monday. And honestly, today is... If everything had been normal last week, my brother would have come down the Friday before. I would have had him for an entire week. I would have had last week off. Today would be the day that I would take him back to the airport. And none of that happened. So last week, barring all of the outside nonsense going on in the world, was just a difficult week. And I tried to get through it as best as I could. And until today, when I realized that today was the day I would take him back to the airport, I didn't realize that I had that added on me of it would have been school days, it would have been, vacation, it would have been, I would have had my brother with me, we would have had a good time, and so for the month of gratitude, I didn't start off very grateful. Sugar, are you gonna get down? So I'm gonna recommit and do better. And that's one of the things that you can do when you make a mistake or screw up or just the month of November. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling the gratitude. You can acknowledge it and then recommit. Recommit to what you know. I have the grace of my personality is, even if I'm not feeling it, I will still get up and go and do my job. And I will fake it. I am absolutely one of those people who can fake. It was a little hard. There were two people that I care about in the hospital last week. And they honestly, I think one of them is, they're both improving. I don't know though. I don't know. And I'm okay with saying that. I don't know. The grace of science of mind is that when we don't know what to treat for, we just treat for their highest and the best. And that's what we do. So, let's do this. And I hadn't opened the book before, but today I get to be grateful for love. That's our title, love. Although that right there, you just saw that was a great deal of love. She loves me, I love her, and she annoys the fire out of me, and I'm sure I annoy the fire out of her. Okay, so November 9th, our title is love. Our Bible quote is, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, for God is love." And that is 1 John 4:16, 1 John 4:18, and then there's a comma, and it says 16. So, you might want to look that one up. There is no fear in love. And there is no liberation from fear without love. Fear is always based on the supposition that we are unprotected, rejected, friendless. If the fearful mind would entertain love and the harmony and the peace that go with it, it must turn from everything that denies this love and, trusting in divine guidance, open its being to the influx of love. Not just the love of God, but the love of everything. For love is an all-inclusive conception. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Today, divine love and infinite tenderness sustain me. In order that I shall not separate myself from this love, I endeavor to see it reflected in everyone and everything. I shall permit only that which is loving, kind, and true to find entrance to or exit from my consciousness. Thus shall I be assured that I am bathed in the warm glow of that love that casteth out all fear. And this is from the Science of Mind textbook. Love is the self-givingness of spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. And that is from page 608. Sorry, itchy nose because of the cat. That and the ragweed is sure big and beautiful this season. Okay. I have had many thoughts on love. I am old enough to have had many thoughts on love. And to be extraordinarily distracted by what is going on in my hallway. My cat is clearly doing something that is just out of my range. Well, and pets are an excellent example of love. They're as close as we can get to unconditional love. Dogs especially. Now, I'm a cat person. I love my cats. I love dogs too, though. I love all pets. I love all animals. Let's be honest. And they love in a way. They're quick to forgive. They are quick to love. They love to be with you. It is their joy to be with you. I was sitting in my living room and she got up on my shoulder and I was like, all right, you're coming with me. And she stayed with me through all of the things that it goes into getting this set up to do this. And then she stayed once the camera came on. And then she chose to get down. And that, a number of them are lap cats. They love to sit in your lap. They love to cuddle. Dogs. You cannot get a better example of love. Because even if you hurt them, they will still love you. It takes a lot to break their spirit. I do not know how much. I don't ever want to find out. But they love you, and as people, we endeavor to love like that. And sometimes we do. But they're the best example of love that you could give. I say that it's, it's close to unconditional because the condition is you feed them. If you don't feed them, they might not love you quite as much. All human love is conditional. It is. And we strive to make it as unconditional as possible. The only truly unconditional love is the love of spirit for its creation, because there is nothing outside of spirit. Spirit has nothing to compare to. Which is why we can say God is love. And then I think that idea of fear might come to that same thing with love. With there not being anything outside of it, judgment, because we are part of spirit, we are made from spirit, we cannot be separated from spirit, so spirit can't judge us because we're not outside of it. Therefore, spirit can't reject us. Spirit, there's none of that. So we have nothing to fear from spirit. We have nothing to fear from God. We have nothing to fear from love. Yeah. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear. And it comes back to knowing who you are. To realizing that you are a child of spirit. That you are made up of spirit, and that nothing can separate you from that. There is no fear in love. There is no liberation from fear without love. When you learn to love yourself, then you stop fearing what other people think about you. I have learned that. And when I worry about what other people think about me, that's where the fear comes from. And then I go back, oh, no, no, no. I love me, and Spirit loves me, and therefore I don't have to worry about what anybody else thinks about me. I do care what my cat thinks about me, though. But that's why they're the perfect example. Fear is always based on the supposition that we are unprotected, rejected, and friendless. And that's why I said Spirit can't reject us, because we are part of it. There's nothing outside of Spirit, so Spirit cannot reject you. God cannot reject you, because God can't put you outside of God. There is nothing but God. If the fearful mind would entertain love and the harmony and the peace that go with it, and that's the challenge, is to love in situations where we'd rather not. Because when we can open ourselves up to loving in situations where we would rather not, then there is a peace that comes with that. And the harmony because love asks us to find a way to get along. Love does not ask us to tolerate situations where we are being harmed. It does not ask us to tolerate situations where others are being harmed, but it does ask us to find a way to get along. And that does mean occasionally we have to stand up and say, this is wrong. This is not acceptable. So don't let me talk you into situations that, love doesn't ask that. Love does not ask you to stay in situations that are harmful. That is the idea of that you love yourself enough to leave. But love encourages us to find harmony and peace. And if you are in a situation that is not harmonious and peace, love encourages you to leave that. But if you are in a situation that's just a little disruptive, love encourages you to find a way to get along. Okay. So, if a fearful mind would entertain love and the harmony and the peace that go with it, it must turn from everything that denies this love and trusting in divine guidance, open its being to the influx of love. Not just the love of God, but the love of everything. For love is an all-inclusive concept. We are called to love in situations and places we'd rather not. And to do things that sometimes we don't want to, because we're angry, or we're sad, or we're afraid. And love's like, yeah, that's not an excuse. You still are required to love. So to look through those rose-colored glasses and to love that person. It doesn't mean you have to stay in the situation, though. I'm a big believer in that. If you are in a situation that is harmful, please leave. Love yourself enough to leave. And honestly, love the other person enough to leave. Because there's that too. When you're in a situation that is harmful to you and another person, sometimes the most loving thing that you can do for both of you is to get out. We call it tough love. The Buddhists have a different idea. Their idea of love, it turns the object of your love into a subject with its own thoughts and feelings. And sometimes you have to do what's best for the subject of your feeling and not turn that subject of your love into an object. Because when it's an object, it's all about you. Okay. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Today, divine love, that's a Bible quote, by the way. It's in quotes. Today, divine love and infinite tenderness sustain me. I'm going to notch that love up just a little bit more from the human level up into the divine level so that I can love everyone and everything in the way that Jesus would, in the way that God would, in the way that Spirit would, in the way that creation would. In order that I shall not separate myself from this love, I endeavor to see it reflected in everyone and everything. And there's your challenge. To look in the eyes of everyone you meet with love, and to look around you at everything with love, to love that tree, to love that car, to love the people in the cars near you that aren't driving so great, to love all of the people that you encounter throughout your day, or, you know, in whatever way, if you interact with them face to face, because I work in a retail space, you know, or if you are interacting with them on Zoom, you know, that one person in the Zoom meeting that always forgets to mute, and then you hear the paper shuffling in the background. Love that person. See that love looking back at you. See that spirit, that God looking back at you through those eyes. I shall permit only that which is loving, kind, and true to find entrance to or exit from my consciousness. Now there's your call to action. There's your call to say, whatever thought pops into my head about that person, it's going to be loving. And whatever thought comes out of my mouth, it's going to be loving. So I'm going to endeavor to, what comes in about that person is going to be that godly love, and what comes out of my mouth and my thoughts and my consciousness is going to be that godly love. Holy cow. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I am saying that if you accept the divine guidance and you accept the divine flow of love, it will be easier. Thus shall I be assured that I am bathed in the warm glow of love that casteth out all fear. That's an exercise, that's a spiritual practice, and life does go a little bit easier when you act in a loving way to everyone around you. And that doesn't mean that you, give in to every request. Because sometimes people are going to ask you to do stuff that are stupid. And the most loving thing you can do is say no. No is a complete sentence, and no is done in love. So, we have a funny idea of what love is sometimes. And just because somebody asks you for something doesn't mean if you love them, you have to give it to them. Sometimes saying no is the most loving thing you can do. So bear that in mind. Okay, love is the self-givingness of the spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. So creation is love. Creation is the act of spirit through love. And we are those children. We are the children of that love. So, I've said a lot about love. I'm not sure any of it was coherent. Our mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to permit only that which is loving, kind, and true to find entrance or exit from our consciousness today. Because if we can do it today, then we can do it tomorrow. And if we can do it tomorrow, then we can do it again and again. So, that's love. And I love that I get to talk about love on Monday, because a lot of people don't like Mondays. I do. I enjoy Mondays. So, I'm going to move into the process of my day. I'm going to encourage you to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself today. Do what you need to do to make it a fantastic day. Here, it's going to be a little bit warmer. It's November and it's going to be in the 80s. Low 80s. So, if you so desire, open your windows. Let some fresh air in. Please open the windows of your soul. Allow that love, that breath of heaven, which is love, to blow in and remind you that you live in heaven now. To remind you that you are a child of God, in whom Spirit is well pleased. A beloved child. Spirit will always love you, and there's nothing that you can do to get out of that. That is unconditional love. There's nothing that you can do to make that love go away. That is grace. That is grace. So, take care of yourself. Drink some water. Do something to engage your mind and body. And know that Reverend David will be on with you at 5 p.m. and I will be back with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And by the way, if you didn't catch the Facebook Live from CLC service yesterday, Danielle really blew it out of the park, and she did talk about love. So scroll back on a couple of videos on the Facebook and catch that, or head over to the Creative Life Spiritual Center YouTube channel, and then you can watch it. But then you'll miss Jeffrey and Brian, the music. All right, have a wonderful day, beloveds.